and so many things that are happening for Jasper County, and I'm just so excited. Today, I'm excited because here at Faith Christian Broadcasting, we have two homegrown men from Jasper County, Low Country, let's say Low Country area, in the person of Dr. William Singleton and Reverend Dr. Alan Galloway. And so today, it's just an honor to be able to have these two men come on to give us wisdom, to give us wisdom, to give us their upbringing and words and nuggets of wisdom for the future. And so, with that said, Dr. Singleton, would you please share with our audience a little bit about yourself?
Okay, thank you, Pastor DuPont, for having me, and I'm excited and happy to be here with you, Dr. Galloway, to hear his wisdom. But a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in a little area. They call it now Roseland. But when I was growing up, it was called Saul. And I think the folks from the upper part of the county was calling it Saul because we lived near the salt water. And in that area, they said nothing good came from that part of the county. We had that kind of reputation, and we're just kind of backwoods country folks. And but we did all right because we had a loving community and a community who cared for each other, community who looked after each other, worked with each other. I remember growing up, we would butcher a hog, a cow, and in those days, everybody had fresh meat for dinner. And my grandfather and grandmother, they were loving people, and they thought I was the best kid out of the family, I believe. And because I was the only grandson at that point for a good while. And the other grandkids were girls, and my grandmother and granddad, they took care of me and thought I didn't do anything wrong until they finally caught up and saw that I was not as truthful as they thought I was. But I grew up in an area, and I was so proud and happy to come from that area and came from an area where people really care about each other and love each other.
Outstanding. That is well said. And so before I ask questions, Reverend Alan Galloway, would you please share a little bit about your upbringing?
Yes, I was raised on St. Helena Island.
Okay.
On the Fuller Plantation
Mm.
from the age of 0 until about the age of 8. Then we moved to Oaks Plantation for the duration of the time, and I graduated from high school in 1960. We had a loving family. Folks really got along.
Mhm.
Teachers were concerned about children that was misbehaving like myself. Seemed as though I was hard to learn anything. And it was just hard to beat it into me. And they were good teachers who I didn't think about them at the time that they were good, but they worked me on a regular basis. And until I finally got the message that I was not in charge of the class, and I could not go home and tell my parents because then I would have got another whipping. But I thank God for those parents and for the discipline that they have instilled in me and the education, because we were able to learn to read, write, do math, and I was truly blessed by the parents and the teachers that coming up during that time.
Outstanding.
Thank you for extending the invitation for me to be here today.
Amen. Both of you, I've got to stop before we go any further and ask you, how did discipline play a role in nurturing and guiding you?
I'm a parent. There was no question about disciplining when we came up. My parents, my daddy was not a disciplinarian. He was a talker.
Okay.
He would talk to you and straighten you because he had a loud, mandated voice. My mother was the one that did the discipline, and she would take care of whatever problem there was. But discipline is so important, and I was so happy to here Dr. Galloway mentioned those teachers. The community, in our community, anyone older than you could discipline you.
Yes.
If you had older brothers and sisters, they were disciplinarian. And I was so happy to hear him mention that teachers in those days, and for the sake of me, I can't understand how the word got back home and we had no cell phone. If you cut up in school, the word got home before you got there, and we were caught in between a rock and a hard place because parents, I mean, when you came home, if daddy or mom found out, they would say, Miss Jones said you cut up in school today. Well, if you said, no, I didn't cut up, the question was, oh, Miss Jones is lying.
Yes.
And then you would say no. So, so you did cut up. So you couldn't win that situation, you see. And but discipline. And when I went into service, I had no problem with being a disciplinarian because I got that message at home. And when we were small, we'd go to church and, if I was cutting up over there, we got the look and all. If you got the look, there was no need to say anything. My mother had the look. And if she ever gave you that look, then you know you were supposed to straighten up.
Yes.
Oh my, outstanding, outstanding. Pastor, I want to hear your side before I share. Go ahead.
Well, I have a similar situation, but my teachers would send home notes sealed in an envelope. And I would open the note on the way home, but not bring the note back. And the note says that I'm supposed to read it, sign it, and send it back. And if they didn't get the note back, they would be at the house the next day.
Wow.
The little teacher followed up on the students, and then there's a whipping coming as a result of bringing that note back and forth. I was really grateful for those teachers because they were concerned for a boy like me to teach me to learn. They could beat it in me, and I'm grateful for that. We don't have that anymore. It's called child abuse, and my teachers would have been put in jail for child abuse because they abused me. And I needed every link of it.
Yeah.
When I saw the teachers years later, I mentioned to them they were afraid of me because of how they treated me. I went up and embraced them and told them how much I appreciated what they did for me because if they didn't do it, it was a very bad situation. I thank God for them.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And I didn't want to chime in too quickly. And the reason why stopping and talking about this is so important is because back then we didn't have as many jailhouses. But
Right.
now they can estimate how many jailhouses they need to build because based on the students in school. And how I got a whiff of it. I'm from the North, Philadelphia, but when I came down to South Carolina to Granny, yeah, don't get it twisted. Get a switch and don't get one that easily breaks, because you're gonna have to go get another one.
Right.
And so I can remember and be very grateful for that kind of discipline and guidance. And maybe discipline sometimes nowadays discipline is like a bad word.
Yes.
But discipline is guidance and guidance that if you need to be tan, your behind need to be tan, that's all a part of discipline. Or things that you can't have because of your behavior, that's discipline. And so they were very strict. And what just came to mind is they meant what they said.
Yes.
And they said what they meant.
Yes.
I have, as a pastor and being in the public, have seen parents promise their children but don't deliver.
Exactly.
And that's the worst thing you can do for a child.
Yes.
If you say it, you got to mean it, or else they're going to take you for a joke. And so many parents, they're at wit's end. Tell you, didn't I tell you? And I'm saying to myself, if you had stuck with what you said at first, that if you don't do what I'm telling you to do, I'm going to punish you, I'm going to take your phone, and you did it, then that child would have believed what you said. But because you just give excuses and your voice get higher, then they start cussing. You don't have to do all that. I raised 3 boys, and I did not have to do all that. I said what I meant, and I meant what I said, and they got a revelation. And that's the same thing that I'm hearing both of you say.
Yeah.
So I just want to put that golden nugget to some of our viewers,
Yes.
because they're at wit's end. And drugs is not going to do it, smoking and all that. That's not the answer. As a parent, you need to be a parent and say what you mean and mean what you say.
Yes.
We're saying this out of love. We want to help. Here at Faith Christian Broadcasting, that's what we want to do. We want to bring you information that is helpful, be it the importance of paying taxes, be it the importance of you need a personal relationship on a higher power. And for us, it's the Lord Jesus. We just want to be able to get good information to you, that now you have what you need to go to the next level, that you don't have to stay in the shape that you're in.
Yes.
So I didn't mean to get preachy. Let's go to another segment. So that was a shout out to the teachers, because I agree.
Yes.
Those teachers did not play, and they were instrumental in all of our successes. So now there is an organization that both of you are a part of. Who want to lead first in talking about the dedicated men of Jasper County?
I believe Reverend Galloway was one of the founding members.
No, you were there first.
Oh, I was there.
Yes, sir.
No,
I came after.
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't one of the founding members, but the organization was, I believe, founded by Mr. Sneed and Roy Sneed, who was one of the trailblazers in Jasper County. And the organization, I believe, was built on basically what we just talked about. The organization, it was called the Dedicated Black Men of Jasper County at first. And the organization was built on our young black male. The idea was that the young black female was getting by. They were doing okay, not doing as well as they should be, but they were doing okay. The our black male wasn't doing well at all, because they end up in prison. They could predict how many cells to build and things like that. So the organization took off and says, we want to do something to help our young black males. That would be scholarships, tutor them, counsel with them, give them words of wisdom, talk about college, talk about tech school, because college is not always the best thing sometimes. So with that in mind, we took off and we started working later. I think at the direction of Reverend Galloway, says if we were going to apply for funding, governmental sources and other sources, we need to take out the black male and put male students in to try to see if we could get some funding. We did that. I think it was 2019. We changed our name, and we call ourselves now the Dedicated Men of Jasper County. And we've had some success. When we go around, one of our members mentioned a couple months ago, that they went in Best Buy and saw a student, says, you don't remember me? And he said, no, I don't quite remember you. He said, well, I remember you because you were part of that dedicated black man that gave us they gave me a scholarship. I went on to college. After college, I started working at Nike, and then I moved from Nike, and I'm a manager here. Well, that's success for us. We're concerned, we've met our goal, and we have so many success with so many young men like that. We have on the 22nd, we're going to present another young man with a $1,500 scholarship, who is in college now and doing well. So we're meeting our goal. We're not out there as much as we should be. The word is not out, but we're building a web page now that's going to get us information.
Wonderful.
I didn't plan to touch all that.
That's all right. Go right ahead.
You said scholarship will be given on the 22nd of which month?
Of October. At the Mount Carmel Missionary Baptist Association, we will be doing that.
That's good, because the black boys are on the edge of extinction.
Yes.
We have serious problems in the African American community, and dedicated men of Jasper County is trying to make a dent. We're trying to help because we're in serious trouble. The educational system is, I don't know if they've failed us or what. The problem is there. And everyone's not need to go to college.
That's right.
Someone could be a carpenter, plumber, electrician, and they make very good money.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And most of them make more money than teachers make. So teachers should be paid a higher salary, one of the highest salaries in the country, because they're the leaders, and they're the ones that teach the students to become successful. So I'm very proud to be a part of the dedicated men of Jasper County, and Deacon Singleton, the secretary. And he does an excellent job, and I'm just a member. I'm grateful to be a member.
Amen. Thank you so much, gentlemen. And so when I was listening to the both of you, I thought about Deion Sanders and the impact he's making with the youth, with the Colorado Buffs in Colorado. And so it is so imperative. And when you say, as we're talking, it is a joint venture. It is parents, it is family, and then organizations like yours that working together. Some and teachers, some people have the mindset, well, I'm sending them to school and you do it, you handle it until something break out, then they want to fight. Well, no, I was visible in the lives of my three sons. The parents, they're our children. You have to take a vital role and responsibility for your children, especially in this day and time. And so it is important that you work with the teachers. Don't take your child word for everything, because my grandmother taught me, you don't know what the children do behind your back.
Yes.
You don't know, but what you can do is you hear them out, then you sneak and go to the school and you observe. Now you're going to find out firsthand how the teacher is responding, how the children is responding. Now, I just came to mind that now teachers can't, or parents not supposed to go to school because of the killing. And so it is a different day, but there's still no excuse. As parents, we got a responsibility. As community, we have a responsibility. And I am so grateful for the dedicated men of Jasper County and what you're doing. And prayerfully, we'll be able to be on location on October 22nd, that we can put on blast what y'all going to be doing by giving this young man a scholarship. And that's how we want to put on blast and get the word out. Any comments?
But yes, I'd like to make one comment with something you said about parents getting involved. I call it, parents must invest in their children from the time they're born until they're in school or successful careers. I can think of a parent when I moved back to Jasper County in '74. After going to school, I started working with the school district. And I had one parent there who had three daughters. Two of them ended up being doctors. One ended up being a school teacher. And we started communicating. My wife started communicating with this family. And one day a week, they would take those kids to Savannah for speed reading. Another day they would be going to math tutoring. Another day they would be in ballet or something. But they invested in those kids. And I can almost bet you those students' education didn't cost parents a dime. Because they got scholarships and all kinds of other money. So that's important. Investing early in child's education saves you some money.
Yes, I agree. I just spoke to a gentleman who invested, military, and by him being in the military, investing, that when he had a family, all of his children went free.
Exactly.
So we're talking about investment. Children is ordained of the Lord. We're not going to negate that. But as a parent, you have to be proactive in how you want to bring those children in the world, and the responsibility, like you said, the responsibility to give your child all you can. It's like planting a seed. And if you don't give it proper nutrition and fertilization, your tree won't be as strong and healthy and be able to stand up on its own. But if you take time and invest in your children when they're little, and as best you can, then they will make you proud. And so that is a key element. Parents, you can't wait till I didn't wait till my son was 15 to tell them how I can knock them to their knees, Rev. I had to bend that sap, like Grady would say, bend the sap, bend the tree when it's little. It's movable, it's pliable. But if I waited till they got 15, 16, or 17, I couldn't do anything with it. So I knew by the wisdom of elders, I understood and I took heed. And so these gentlemen are here for we as parents to take heed. Take heed that your children don't have to be a statistic, don't have to go to jail, don't have to be around the street with their pants under their behind. They don't have to do that. As you listen and take counsel and get good information to help your children be the very best they can be. All right, that's sermon number 2. Pastor Galloway, let's talk about the future. What can you see or share that maybe help some of the men, some of the ladies, not just continue in the welfare system or whatever the systems are that are ruts, and that it can help to bring some kind of shimmer of light to say, no, let me offer you these suggestions that could possibly help your future be different than your past.
Well, we can talk about the young girls and the young men. The young men will fool a young woman, say that, I love you, and if you do this for me, I guarantee you everything's going to be okay. And you get hooked up into that pretty soon as a child. Now we have a baby with a baby, and a young man who does not have a job, girl doesn't have a job. Now we have problems. So we need to encourage our children to be abstinence, or if they're not going to be abstinent, at least show them some sense of protection for themselves, because they see everything on TV or the mobile phones, so they go in all different directions, as opposed to when we were coming up. We can see all of that. Young men need to be learning some sense of responsibility. They need to go get an education. They need to go to school. They need to learn to read. They need to learn math. And even if they do not know geography or history, if they learn how to read, they must learn how to read. And they must learn how to do math. That's the only way you can make it. And you can't fake knowing math or reading, because everyone who knows how to read and write will know that you can't do it.
That's right. Yeah.
And the young women also need to learn that they can reach for the stars, reach for something to do better, and try to be around people who are going someplace, not someone who's sitting on the corner telling you how smart he is or how smart she is or unemployed. Try to be around positive people, and hopefully parents are positive, or if not the students, the teachers, role models.
Yes, that's
that we can have, and try to move forward.
Thank you so much. Yes. What about you, Dr. Singleton?
Yeah, I agree 100% with what Dr. Galloway just said. I think education is the key. And it doesn't have to be college. It could be a tech school or a training program. But it's so important to have a piece of paper.
Yes.
And I say that because I have 2 daughters and 1 granddaughter now who graduated from college, but none of them working in their field that they graduated. One, my oldest daughter graduated as a, can't think of it now, but she's not. She works for Target. She makes more money working for Target than she would be working there.
Wow.
I have another daughter that's was in nursing science, degrees in science, and she is working for Siemens, and making good money. I have a young granddaughter who's 27 years old, and she makes more money than mom and the dad.
Oh, wow.
I mean, mom and the aunt. But she's not working in her area. But the key is, when they went and applied for the job, they had a piece of paper. They could say, I'm a college graduate. I graduated from a tech school or wherever. And I think that's so important for students when they go and apply for a job, they have something they can offer and say that I went to this school, I went to that school, and I'll tell you the other thing: the HBCUs, the connection. My granddaughter got the connection with Pepsi company through connection with the CBUs, the colleges, and all of that fits in. You know, it's just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna say.
That is the ticket. They need the ticket to get into the door.
Yes, indeed.
If you do not have the ticket, you can't get into the door.
Exactly.
And you need to work on getting the ticket if you're going into that field.
Yeah.
Even if going to construction, you need to learn work as an apprentice or work as an apprentice to be able to get it. Then you can get in the door.
Yes.
And we need to sometimes think about the names that we put on these students. We got all kinds of funny names. When they see the name, if two persons apply and they see the name and you said Sugarboo and Mary Jane, you're going to put Sugarboo in the dump. And Mary Jane's going to get the interview because they're able to discriminate by the name that you give these children. So it's very important that you give the proper name. Even though I know you love the name and sounds just like what grandma wanted you to do, and all your aunt and cousins, but be careful of the name that you put it so you can get in the door with the ticket. And you can sit down and talk. But if you don't have the ticket, you can't get in the door.
Yeah, it's not like I remember my dad telling the story. We only had a third grade education because during that time it was hard. They weren't getting paid very well. But his integrity and his work ethic allowed him to not only succeed, but accelerate. And they wind up allowing him to be trained to use a backhoe. So now everybody else, even with degrees, was digging ditches. But my dad proved himself with integrity. So the only thing I would add along with that paper is to be integrity, to have character, because the paper will definitely get you in the door. That's your ticket. But then you have to prove yourself. You have to be a person that don't badmouth the company. Well, that doesn't make sense. You know, if you have a disagreement, you need to go through the protocols to have it addressed. And so being integrity and having character will then accelerate where you go in that field of education, or be it a trade and wherever in the workplace. So our forefathers did what they had to do, but they would say what they mean what they say, and people could count on their word. And so that's what you want along with the ticket. Your word is your bond. That you not only are you going to have your ticket to get in the door, but then you also let your word be your bond. Don't badmouth the company to your coworkers, because I'm telling you, and ask me how I know later. I'm telling you, they will tell what you said.
Yes.
They won't tell what they said. And then you wind up while you're getting a pink slip or you being let go. And so you have to be smart enough. You have to go into these workplaces, keeping your nose clean by being integrity. And if there is a grievance, then you go through the proper protocol to handle it. But don't let this get you in trouble, because your ticket won't be any good. And sometimes you won't be able to get employment from other places because, they know you to be a troublemaker or whatever. And so we just here collectively want to be able to give you nuggets of wisdom. Either we experienced it or we know others who have experienced it, so that you don't have to go through the same troubles that we've been through. Go ahead, sir.
No, excuse me. Speaking of integrity,
yes, sir.
I went to work in New York in a paint store. And one person was there for 25 years, and one was there for 15 years. This place was dirty. It's owned by a Jewish family. Dirty. I said, well, gosh, I got to clean this place up. So we started cleaning it up, work extra, got paid part-time. And after 3 or 4, 5 months, I said, well, this guy's doing good, make him a salesman. And after a year, they made me a manager of a paint store, while the other guys were there for 15 years and 25 years, because they were just there to make a living, just there to make the money. And because I was successful. Working with Jewish people. Now, I'm sorry for what's going on in the Middle East between the Jews and the Palestinians. But I worked for the Jewish people for many years. I've learned a lot from them. Now, sometimes I'm over aggressive. You say, you're just like a Jew. But that's not my intention. If that was a bad habit or a good habit.
Well, you see the fruit that it bear
Yeah.
determine
Oh,
that.
yes.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one other thing is that with young people is that, and I know technology is supposed to be the thing that's in the world now that's going to get us where we need to go, but Facebook, all those other Twitter and all those things are getting our young people in so much trouble.
Yes.
So much trouble that when they go and apply for a job, then this thing come back to haunt them.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to let them know that they have to be very careful with what they say and how they say it, because it's going to come back to haunt them.
Absolutely. They never thought what they said when they were 15 years old.
Yes.
Someone did save it.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
when you apply for the job, you're dressed all kind of provocative way. They said, here's who we want to hire. I said, oh my gosh.
There you
So
go.
you have to be careful. Here's what the text says.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's all out there. Once you put it out there,
Yeah.
It's
you
out
never
there.
know where it's going to stop.
Yes,
Who's
exactly.
going to keep it?
Yes.
And who will bring it up later for you,
Mhm.
especially if they don't like you.
Mm-hmm.
Bring you down.
Mm-hmm.
Or they want to blackmail you. So you got to be very careful what you say.
I don't want you to have the job. That's right.
Oh my, the wisdom at the table. And so we're here to help you. We want your life to be better. We're not back in Jim Crow. We're not back there. And thank God we aren't. So there are opportunities of a lifetime that is awaiting you, but the character and integrity of our grandparents allow them to succeed. Don't allow not having integrity and letting Facebook and Twitter, you just go buck wild, now be a hindrance for your success. I think that would be the conclusion for me to share with you. Anything else in closing, either of you?
We'll talk about the land situation.
Yes, sir.
That's in Jasper County right now. And I'm going to get a copy of the Jasper Sun. I have to run it in the newspaper 3 times before the sale of the property.
Mm-hmm.
Property sale will take place on November 6th.
Mm-hmm.
And there are properties that were sold on last year that they still have an opportunity to redeem it. There's a long list.
Mm-hmm.
People who didn't pay their taxes on last year on the property, and their names in the paper. You can get it from the church, from the delinquent tax collector. See who hasn't paid their property tax last year. By November 7th, if they haven't paid it, they're going to lose the land.
Mm-hmm.
So now, what this person should do, look on the list, see someone named on that try to work a deal with them. Say, look, you're losing 10 acres of land for $800. Once you sell me 1 acre, and then you keep 9, and I'll pay the taxes and give you some more extra money. But don't let the land go. We're talking about people who are saying, well, those foreigners are coming over here, they're taking our land. Taking the land because you didn't pay the tax.
Yes.
It's the tax.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one can take your land and pay the tax.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's going to come up on November 6th, sale in Jasper County. You can see who hasn't paid their taxes right now.
Yeah.
And approach them if you want to. Sometimes you don't want to say anything to them because they will say, well, you bother my business. Can you loan me the money? So you said, let's see, but I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah. And to say just a few words about that, was so happy we had a family reunion in end of July. And at the end of the night, one night, I had about 4 or 5 of them said they wanted young people. My 2 of my kids, or 3 of my kids were involved, so they came up and talked to me and says, we want you to start working with us because we're just sick and tired of our land being taken away. And they said, when land comes up and when people start losing houses, if a lot of them talk to me, they said, you want to let us know because we're going to form a little co-op. We're going to form a little co-op. We're going to buy some land. And matter of fact, they're looking at a building now. I think it's about $300,000 building they're looking at. But, I think they're learning a little bit, but there's so much more to be learned.
Yeah. For sure. And go ahead.
And it's available that we can get the information.
Yes.
And sometimes in our churches, we need to have the officers of the church and members of the church reach out to members of the congregation who's having a difficult time.
Please.
Or who may need a little help to tide them over until till they can get themselves together. We're just losing so much land when the Confederate Union Federal soldiers left. Black folks stayed here were slaves and they become landowners.
Yes.
And this happened over 100 years ago. So now the white kids are coming back and said, well, we're going to get our grandparents' land back. So the black folks holding it, we're going to take it back from them. And we give it up. We just don't pay the taxes. We complain of it. When they come in and say, well, they move fence around your property, you said, wow, because they didn't pay the tax. They should property. So it's a sad commentary for our people. And they say, well, too many people are buying our land. And we can't do anything about it because there's so much of it that's happening. Read the Jasper Sun on the internet. When it's on.
Thank you so much. You pinpoint something, churches. I just want to put on blast that if our communities, at the land in our community of our churches are taken away, I shouldn't say taken away, are given up because our community is not paying their taxes, more times than not, the new people coming in will not be attending your churches. And with that said, what will happen to the church? So the churches, I'm asking you to get involved. You know who in your community is needing help with the property, put a lien on it, but help to save it because you're going to help to save your church and not because I'm visiting different communities that it's African American. We went to Florida. We went to see Fort Moose, which is where slaves from Florida they ran from South Carolina to get freedom when the Spanish had it. And so the churches on the outskirts of the waterfront area where it's highly populated and a whole lot of money is there, but the churches just a block away are dying because the people in the community is not astute or willing to keep the history of that church alive that was pivotal during the time of when the enslaved came to the area. And I said that to say, Jasper County churches, we need you to help your community so the church can live and stay there. Because I guarantee you, if others come into our community, more times than not, they're not going to be attending the churches that we attend or that you pastor. And so that's my closing. Anybody else have anything else to say?
I would say something about the cemeteries.
Oh, that's another thing. Yeah.
A lot of African American cemeteries has not been designated as a cemetery by the county. And you need to go on to the county, have your cemetery designated, and have them come out and draw a line of where your lines are for the cemetery. Once it's designated and recorded in the courthouse, the landowners the land can't be sold because the cemetery is there. A lot of blacks do not take care of our cemeteries. Deacon Singleton, they've done a wonderful job at the cemetery right up the road. And others have also done good work. I'm in the prison, so I got to be careful. The cemetery is one of the best and well kept. Tell us, Deacon Singleton, how did you manage to do that?
When I moved back in 74, you couldn't see from me to you because of the woods and the vegetation and things like that. And I got myself and another guy, and we said that doesn't make sense. So we took our bush axe and a sling blade and started cutting it. We said, this is not going to get it. Then we started bringing in push board. We said, this wasn't going to get it. And we formed a group, a community cemetery group, Roseland Cemetery. And we start gaining momentum, and we start putting bylaws and things together, and we form a committee. And of course, I got elected chairperson for the group job. And we started raising money. We did fundraising, and then we put a price, a fee on the household that they would pay. Not only for their burial, but for their parents and people and family members who they have down in the cemetery. Maintenance fee.
That's right.
And they pay that maintenance fee every year. And we, go down there and We moved trees. We brought in all kinds of heavy equipment to clean up the graveyard. I'll bet you we spent about $30,000 down in that graveyard in the last 15 years. Yes. Yeah, at least.
And Pastor, I appreciate that because they're going to be an event like never seen before up until this time. In 2026, it will be the 250th anniversary of the Revolutionary War. It is predicted that millions of people are going to be coming through Jasper County because South Carolina is stated that we were pivotal in America winning the Revolutionary War. Let's say it like that. And so with that said, we have this time and space to identify the cemeteries in our community because tourists is coming from all over the world. And history is a moneymaker right now. I mean, people, when I went to Florida and went to the fort, it's amazing, busloads and busloads of people walking around wanting to see and know about the history of that. It's called St. Augustine, Florida. And so with that said, in 2 years, a little more than 2 years, people are going to be coming around here wanting to know our history. It is very important that churches recognize you're 100, you're 175. You need to have your history written. You need to go ahead and get things documented so that when the people come through, you can have signs up, you can have pointers or markers so that people will be able to come to your community and be able to learn your history and leave donations. But if you wait till the last minute, then you're going to be out. People just going to drive by the community. So to go ahead and identify the cemeteries in our community, to go ahead and identify the history, be it oral. You come here to the studio, we can do your history so that now you'll have something to show to the tourism. We're going to have, we're planning to have an I Reminisce program in February. And it is all about people coming around, bringing old photos of family, their history, getting the history on camera, on film, like you said, that it will never be erased. Now that whoever writes their book, you have your history from your eyes, from your viewpoint. Other people will come into our communities and they can only write and share the history from their eyes. But we have to, as a people, share our history from our eyes because nobody can tell your family history better than you. But you have a responsibility to do that. You can't just sit down and think it's going through osmosis. And so now is the time. Plans are being made. We're asking you, and you to please make an appointment to come so you can share your history. So now you have it that if your community wants to get a hold of some of the big money that's coming through the pipe, now you have a plan. Now you can go ahead and take it to the level that you want. Your church can have an open house and that people can come on the days and hear you talk about your history. You can have food. But you have to go through the proper protocol. We just want to bring information to you that can help you, that we don't say when everybody else is getting a piece of the pie, well, nobody told us. That won't be true because we're here at Faith Christian Broadcasting is here to bring you the best updated information, be it the importance of paying taxes or upcoming events or celebrations that can benefit every community in Jasper County and not just a select few. So that's my third closing. Anybody else?
No.
There's a African museum,
Yes.
American Museum in Charleston, South Carolina.
Yes.
We'd like to encourage everyone to go and take a tour
Yes.
of the African American Museum from the beginning of slavery or prior to slavery until today.
That's on my bucket list.
And include, I want to mention also, we need the Jasper Port.
Yes.
The Jasper Port, it does not make any sense. In Savannah, Georgia, across the river, they're making billions of dollars with the port in Savannah, Georgia. We're across the street. We're not making anything.
Not true.
We should the Jasper Port so that we can all make some money.
Yes.
The tax will be lower. We can have more opportunities for all people of all races, color, and creed. And with the tax that come into the community, we can have more recreation for the children. The taxes be lower for the police officer. They'll be able to better water and
Facilities,
facility. Talk to me about it, Deacon.
infrastructure,
Talk to me.
the infrastructure, water, sewage, education.
Yes.
It just will do everything for us. We really need it. That port is the utmost important. We've been talking about it long enough. And it's time for something to be done now.
Absolutely. Right across the street.
Yeah.
They just across the bridge. They gave away, I think, $5 or $8 million for housing development.
Oh my!
Because they're making so much money. But it's the largest port in the United States.
Wow.
And we across the road, brothers making billions. We sitting over there on the pot saying we never do anything. It's amazing. We need to get on our politicians. We need to support them and push them going to get that port so we can all do better for the community.
Yes. Outstanding. I believe we're going to have to do a part 2, gentlemen. You just let me know your schedule. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to be here with Reverend Dr. Alan Galloway and Dr. Bill Singleton, and sharing not only their history and sharing not only good information through the Men in Black, but futuristic, things that we can do now to be proactive, that our future will be better for us as well as for our children, and generations to come. It has been an honor and a privilege to have you. And I'm looking forward to at least one more session. We love you. Thank you. Listen, we're asking you, we're building momentum. Everybody who has liked, shared, comment, and subscribed, yes, thank you. And it's because of you that we're reaching more and more people. So continue to tell your friends and family to like, share, and subscribe and comment. And we are so excited on what the future holds for Faith Christian Broadcasting.
Just one more comment. Dr. Singleton was the superintendent of Jasper County school system, responsible for all the new schools that are here now. Without him, the school system would not have the schools that they have now, with the mechanisms that they have to work with education. So thank you, Dr. Singleton.
And no, let me thank you, Dr. Galloway, because Dr. Galloway and one of my best friend who passed away, Reverend Samuel Gregory.
Wow.
It wasn't for these two gentlemen, two preachers, two men of faith. They got out ahead of the crowd, and I mean, pushed for these schools to be built. So we want to thank them personally again, and I've thanked them enough, but they did a marvelous job in helping us to build those schools, campuses. So thank you. Hats off to you.
And hats off to you. You did a wonderful job. Congratulations again.
So listen, do you hear the history? Do you hear how they work together to achieve? And so with that said, we want you to know that we appreciate you. We want to appreciate them. It's easy and unfortunate, but when somebody is laying across, it's amazing all the accolades people can give that person. But guess what? They can't hear a word you saying. But now is the time to say thank you. Now is the time to give a shovel or give a hat to people that was in the trenches working hard so that you can have a better life in Jasper County. I have a better life because of my grandmother and my grandfather and those that went through. They stuck it out and things got better. Some of us who went north, but we didn't forget here, and we sent money back to help. And so as we work together, be wherever you are, even overseas, but if you have land here, we need your input, and we need you to pour in to Jasper County to help us to be the best. Jasper County has had so many great people worldwide that don't forget, they haven't forgotten, some of them have not forgotten where they came from. And so locals, we have a responsibility too to vote. We have a responsibility to get involved. And so with that said, we're so excited for what both of these gentlemen have done. I wish we had the applaud key that we could do the applaud. Thank you so much for your tireless work and effort to make life better for the children of Jasper County now. I'm just disappointed that our historical schools were destroyed. But still, let's work toward getting a marker. Let's get a marker for
Yes.
where Jasper County School was in Bees Creek Road and was that Coosahatchee School. Let's get markers. Let's rally around getting markers. That's something because that is historic for us because those are our community schools. We're so grateful. We're so excited. Yeah, we just want you to know we thank you for sharing, commenting, and subscribing that we can do more and share more to more people. Thank you so very much. Peace and blessing.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Singleton.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.